Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Glad you're here. You are the man from the Metcalf Safe Company.
Well, I own the company. It's pretty hard to have any men hang around on a 4th of July weekend.
Precisely my problem, Mr.
I'm Mr. Metcalf. I talked to you on the phone.
Oh, yes. I'm Zachariah Loomis.
And what's your problem, Mr. Loomis?
Well, the vault's closed on the time lock until Tuesday morning. I've got to get a rush shipment of industrial diamonds to the other end of the continent by then or lose a lot of money.
Let's have a look at it.
Can you open it?
I don't think there's any problem about that. And I don't think we'll have to damage it too much. Oh, you'll have to fill out this release form. Have you some identification, Mr. Loomis? That should do it.
It's open?
We'll see right now. There she is. Hey, what's this?
Now, just take it easy, Mr. Metcalf, and you won't get hurt. Now, mister, I suggest you be very careful.
What's going on? What are you doing?
Never mind that. Just walk into that safe.
Well, I understand.
Come on, you two, Metcalf. Now, listen to me. Both of you stay right where you are and no movement.
Please, not those, not those.
Now, shut up.
Who are you?
Zachariah Loomis.
You fool!
I was involved in a particularly naughty corporate merger that morning and was late getting back to my office. I didn't know that a persuasive and charming teenager was anxiously camping out in my waiting room. A teenager who would delay the plans of 2 large corporations.
It's my father. He needs your help. They're accusing him of murder.
Well, I'm sure the police will do everything they can.
Please, Mr. Maris, it'll only take a few minutes.
All right. Will you come in for a minute?
Last night, the police came over to the house. They picked him up and they said he robbed a jewelry company and killed a man. The police said that my father killed a man.
Now, well, wait a minute. One thing at a time. Sit down. What's your name?
Judy Metcalf.
And when did this thing happen?
Yesterday in the afternoon.
Was your father home at the time?
No, he wasn't. He said something about going out on an emergency call.
Did he say where?
No, he just phoned home to say he'd be late. I know what you're thinking, Mr. Maris, but he didn't do it. He didn't.
I didn't say I thought that, Judy. Now sit down. Does your mother know you're here?
Mother doesn't know what to do. Everybody's been phoning and asking questions. She doesn't know what to say.
Hasn't she gotten hold of a lawyer yet?
My father said to wait till he sees what's going to happen, that he'll take care of it. But I'm afraid, Mr. Maris.
Why don't you let me give you the name of a good lawyer, hmm?
Mr. Maris, you're a good lawyer. You've helped other people. Why don't you help me?
Judy, I'll talk to the police, but that's all I can promise.
Thank you. It's all I ask. Just explain to them that my father couldn't have done it.
All right, Judy.
I don't know. I really don't know on this one. Herb, how did you get into this?
Metcalf's daughter came to me.
Yeah, she was there when we picked him up. Nice girl. You know, that's what bothers me about this whole case. Those people, they remind me of my next-door neighbors, not criminals. Oh, of course, you can't go by looks. I've been surprised too many times. Still, I'd welcome some help.
Metcalf have a record?
No, just parking tickets, that's all.
Did he have the gems on him when you picked him up?
No, but he could have disposed of those, Herb.
Well, then what are you holding him on?
Plenty. Listen, I'd put my own grandmother in the boogie if I had as much on her as I have on Marty Metcalf. His fingerprints were all over the vault, all over the tools he left behind. And a cabbie saw him leaving the scene of the crime, and his alibi sounds more like a confession.
What'd he say?
Something about an emergency call and having to open up a safe.
Well, that could be true.
Yes, I suppose it could be true, but it's kind of hard to believe that a criminal wouldn't do the job himself instead of calling in a witness.
There must be plenty of jewel thieves who know nothing about cracking a safe.
Yes, but Herb Metcalf didn't even have the police form filled out.
That's easy to forget.
But why didn't he call us? Why did he run?
I can't tell you that. You tell me why a thief and a killer should be so cooperative. He practically left his calling card. This was the easiest pinch you ever made.
Oh, now, Herb, Metcalf's not a professional crook. He probably heard about the large stock of gems in the Loomis Company vault, figured he could make a real haul. But Loomis showed up, surprised him. Metcalf panicked, killed the old man, and he ran.
Well, it makes sense. I'm still not convinced.
Yes, I opened the safe. But I didn't know it was a robbery.
But why didn't you call the police?
I don't know. The alarm was ringing. The old man was lying there, not moving. Well, I didn't know which way to turn. What do I say? Who'd believe me?
So you bolted.
It was a stupid thing to do. I realize that now.
What did this man who pretended to be Loomis look like?
Well, he was medium height, gray hair, blue eyes, and, well, he was on the thin side.
You told the police he had a medium build.
Well, I might have said medium build. I don't know, but, well, he was on the lean side.
What color eyes do I have?
Well, yours are... they're brown.
I noticed you had to stop and look, even though we're standing across the table from each other, yet you remember the killer's eyes were blue.
Oh, I don't know. Some things you remember and some things you don't
You
remember.
never saw this man before.
No, I swear I don't.
Why did he telephone you?
I don't know. I guess he just went down the pages in the yellow book. There aren't so many safe companies in this town. Oh, what's the use? You don't believe me, and I don't blame you. After all I'm doing is just tripping over myself.
Marty, that's just why I'm inclined to believe you. An honest man doesn't have all his answers down pat. But we're going to have to do something to convince the police. If you don't mind, I'd like to talk to your wife.
Mind? Heck no. Talk to her all you want.
You understand why I'm here, Mrs. Metcalf?
Yes, of course. And I want to do everything I can to help Marty. I'm afraid I've been rather emotional. It was such a shock.
Well, that's understandable. Your daughter explained the circumstances.
Judy, you've talked to her?
She asked me to help, but I presume she told you.
Judy came to you. I don't understand. My husband said he'd take care of everything. He wanted to keep us out of it. You have seen him.
Yes.
How is he?
A little discouraged, but that's to be expected. You haven't seen him since his arrest?
I know what you must think, Mr. Maris, but I just couldn't bring myself to go down to that jail. Seeing him behind bars like that. The neighbors staring the minute I set foot outside the house. How long will it take for you to get him out?
I'm afraid it isn't that simple, Mrs. Metcalf. Your husband's in jail on a murder charge.
And I suppose it'll be in the papers again tomorrow. I just don't know what to say to people anymore.
You said you wanted to help Marty, Mrs. Metcalf. Try to remember. Did you ever hear the name Loomis before all this happened?
No, I don't think so.
Try and recall if any neighbor or any friend asked about your husband's work or his ability to open vaults.
No, I never discussed Marty's work. It's no use, Mr. Maris. There's nothing I can tell you.
Now, think carefully, Mrs. Metcalf. Somehow we have to produce another suspect or come up with some evidence that will prove that your husband didn't do it.
But what is there to prove? My husband is a very successful man, Mr. Maris. Look at this house. Look at me. Look at my daughter. How could anyone in his right mind think that my husband would stoop to steal a handful of jewels? Whatever for?
You may have something there. If we can prove beyond a doubt that there was no motive, no jury in the world would convict your husband. Who's his accountant?
It's George Whitcomb, I think. I'll get his phone number and address for you.
Good.
Quite a shock to hear this about somebody you've dealt with for years. You know, Mr. Maris, I would do just about anything to help Metcalf.
Good. I may need you as a character witness. Right now, though, I need your records on Marty Metcalf.
His books.
That's right. If I can show a lack of motive, that'll be the first break for Marty.
Mr. Maris, Oh, excuse me.
Come in. Now, Lieutenant.
Hi, Counselor.
Lieutenant Weston, this is George Whitcomb, the accountant for Marty Metcalf.
How do you do?
How do you do?
Lieutenant is with the police. I think we've come up with the first item to clear Marty. You're here to subpoena his financial records, aren't you?
That's right.
George, how well off was Marty?
He was in debt up to his eyebrows.
I just talked to his wife.
And Isabel led you to believe that they were rich.
That's right.
Well, she doesn't know that that beautiful house of theirs is mortgaged to the hilt. That the Metcalf Safe Company owes, about $40,000 in back bills. Just last month, he had to borrow money to meet his payroll. Frankly, Mr. Maris, I just don't see how he can last until the end of the year.
Why hasn't he told her?
I don't know. Maybe she doesn't want to hear.
Oh, the district attorney's going to want those records. Sorry, Hub. You know, the only thing was that we lacked the motive. Now I think we're better.
The information that Marty Metcalf was deeply in debt had added to the weight of the evidence that pointed to his guilt. In spite of this, I still believed I read this man's character right. But I needed some good answers from him about his financial troubles.
Now, there's nothing to worry about. Everything's going to be all right. Mr. Maris knows what he's doing.
Mrs. Metcalf?
Mr. Maris, gee, I was hoping you'd come.
Judy? Do you suppose I could speak to you alone for a moment, Marty?
Why? What's the matter? Something we're not supposed to hear?
Judy, please.
No, I'm tired of just running along. I'm old enough to know what's going on.
Judy, Never mind. Go ahead.
Marty. Why didn't you tell me you were on the verge of bankruptcy?
Bankruptcy?
Because I didn't think you'd touch my case if I told you.
But you must have realized I would have found out eventually.
Well, I thought when you checked on me and my wife that you'd find out I was honest. I've never cheated anyone, Mr. Maris.
But you were spending money you didn't have. That hardly helped your position.
Does owing money make you a thief, a murderer? I've been in debt for the last 10 years. I've gotten out of dozens of scrapes like this, and I've gotten out of this one, too.
But
But you never said a word.
I didn't want to hurt you, Isabel.
But why did you let Mother buy that new car and all those paintings? And why are we living in that big house? Don't you even trust your own wife?
Marty.
I couldn't tell you, Isabel. I just couldn't.
But why?
Well, a woman like you, well, you could have married better. You deserved fine possessions, a nice house. I didn't want to worry you with my problems. I wanted you to be happy.
You didn't think I'd be happy sharing the problems? I used to try, Marty, but you always said everything was fine. Didn't you think I loved you enough to stay with you in spite of the problems?
True, isn't it? Two grown people and you don't even know each other. But it's horrible.
Judy, it's not as bad as it sounds. When you grow up, you'll understand.
I never want to understand.
You didn't steal those diamonds just because of us.
I didn't steal them.
I didn't think so. Marty.
Yes?
I'll be back tomorrow. Goodbye, Mr. Maris.
I know how you feel, Marty, but it was bound to happen sometime.
Not this way.
Okay, but it happened. Now, the best thing you can do for them is to get yourself out of here.
I didn't think you were still in my corner.
I am.
Why?
I'm conceited enough to think I know when a man's telling the truth, but you're going down for the count. We've got to get our hands on that killer in one way or another. There's one possibility we haven't looked into. This man may have had some connection with the Loomis Company. Mr. Loomis?
Oh, you must be Mr. Maris, the lawyer that phoned?
That's right.
What can I do for you?
Well, I'm here about the robbery and the unfortunate death of your father.
Oh, in what connection?
Frankly, I don't believe the man they're holding is guilty.
How can you possibly not think it? Why, the evidence is overwhelming.
What made your father decide to come here on the holiday?
He wanted to work on the books. This business was his whole life. Oh, he was liable to come here any time. In fact, last Sunday, we were out of town, and Dad decided to come back here.
How many of your employees knew there was an unusual number of valuable gems in the vault?
They all did. But if you're suggesting one of my people was responsible, dismiss it immediately. Every one of them has been with the firm for over 10 years, and they're all bonded. Now, if you'll forgive me, I have to get back to identifying these gems for our catalog.
Is that more important than the fact that a man is in jail? A man with a wife and daughter who feel as strongly toward him as you did toward your father? Mr. Loomis, you don't know that this man is guilty.
No, I don't know. But there's little doubt.
Well, give him the benefit of that doubt. Now, you mentioned a catalog. Do you have a complete list of the gems that were stolen?
We've compiled a list of the larger stones.
You've just given me an idea. Could I have a copy of that list?
Well, you'd have to know a few things about gems before you'd understand it.
I learn fast if it means an innocent man can be saved.
Mr. Maris, if I'm ever in trouble, I hope you're on my side. Well, let's start with your education.
I don't know, Herb. A lot of shine has worn off of Marty Metcalf. He doesn't have a record, but he's been playing hide and seek with his creditors for years. He was going under for the last time.
I know that. My worries are in a completely different direction. I'm afraid the killer blew town a few days ago.
Herb, if this killer exists, and he's a professional, he wouldn't dare make a move with those precious stones. Not with us, the DA's office, and the insurance investigators checking every street, highway, train, plane, bus out of here.
In that case, I want to try my plan. That's why I wanted to see you.
Well, aren't you going to a lot of trouble just to play a long shot?
Supposing the long shot pays off. The killer and the $150,000 in gems is worth a try, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Now, I think the best way to set this up would be to get my men to spread the word that somebody wants to buy quality stones, no questions asked. But the problem is, who's that buyer going to be?
Well, we'd want a man who knew something about gems. He'd have to be smart. Somebody who'd been around, knew something about handling big deals.
You don't want much, do you? Well, listen, I can't use any of my men. As much as I try to keep them undercover, any crook with half a brain is onto them.
Who would you suggest?
Oh, well, the only person that I could think of that could fill that bill would be you.
Okay.
Okay, Herb, I'll set it up for you. But I hope you know what you're getting into. This can be very risky.
And it's my considered opinion that the carrier in question cannot be held in violation of the Interstate Commerce Commission's ruling under Section 3. That's it. It takes my signature as attorney for the defendant.
We're going to call it a day?
Yeah. Oh, anything from the answering service on my import-export business?
No, and I've been calling that exchange 10 times a day for the last week. What's that all about? Mr. Maris's office. Oh, just a moment, please. It's the answering service. They've got Mr. Barber on the phone.
I'll take it.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, this is Mr. Jansen. Put him on.
Mr. Jansen, I think we can do business.
Just a minute, Mr. Barber. Let's not waste each other's time. I'm not looking for chips.
I've got large stones, Jansen. As large as you want. You know where Dover Park is? Be on the corner leading into the park. I'll meet you there after 4 tomorrow. Carry an overcoat over your left arm. Park your car up the street.
Right. Goodbye.
I don't think he's going to show.
Guess not.
Been here over an hour and a half. I don't think he spotted me.
I think I'll check the answering service. Maybe
All right.
postpone.
Give me a call, Herb. I got to get back to headquarters.
All right.
Jansen,
Yes?
walk to the museum. I'll be right behind you.
What's this for? Why didn't you meet me at the corner?
I believe in planned cowardice, Mr. Jansen. I've been watching you for the last hour.
Then you should have been satisfied.
I'm very careful, Mr. Jansen. I have to be. I checked you out very carefully, but just in case, I'll start moving.
But there are too many people at the museum.
Are you kidding? The place is deserted on weekdays. Well, what do you think?
They're the kind of stones I want if the price is right.
$75,000 for the whole lot. You'll make more than I will on them.
You trying to be funny? You can go into any wholesale house and pick them up for that.
What's stopping you?
I'm interested in the stones, but you're way out of line.
Jansen, if you're here to make a deal, I'll take 70.
Let me call my bank.
Jansen, you're not making any phone calls while I've got hot jewels on me. What are you stalling for? Do you want to make a deal or don't you?
I don't have that kind of money on me.
Okay. Why don't we just go over to your bank and get it?
65,000.
They're yours.
My bank's on Broadway.
Let's go.
Paleontology always fascinated me. Take a look at this, will you?
What are you trying to do? Put that thing down.
There's no reason to be hysterical.
Are you coming?
Sure, calm down.
Let's go.
The other one we caught's John Barber, no question about it. The jewels were on him from the Loomis and Son Company vault. But this one, this is the one that pulled that museum caper.
Very funny. My wrists are worn raw. Come on, get these handcuffs off, huh?
What do you mean? You're guilty of a felonious theft from a public building. aiding and abetting a known criminal, and dealing in stolen merchandise.
Weston, wait till I get my hands on
And
you.
threatening an officer of the law. I'm sorry, my friend. You're in real trouble. What you need is a good lawyer.